Well, hello, everybody. So my name's Jen Henriksen, and I'm with Mission Adventuring Travel, a travel agent without a lot of travel going on at the moment. So I'm actually, I'm in touch with a lot of people on Facebook. It's because I travel so much, it's kind of where my friends and family tend to connect with me. So I have a lot of people that I connect with online. And in a time of uncertainty and things going on, we all tend to connect a lot more. My phone told me that I was up like 40% on my screen times this week, understandably, right? So I hope this finds you well, but I have a background in scheduling and administration. So I'm pretty good with routines and setting up things like that. And at times like this, when we could really use some tips and tricks on that, I thought that I would just take a few minutes and cover a few of them in a quickie little recording for you. So the coronavirus is happening, and what we're seeing is a lot of us are, I work from home. My office is in my home, has been for 25 years. But a lot of us are finding ourselves coming home when we were not expecting to work at home. So technologically, we aren't ready for that. Emotionally, physically, we're not ready for that. Financially, we're not ready. But at the same time, our kids and our families, our husbands, our wives, they're all coming home as well, a lot of them. And we're finding ourselves right on top of each other in a space that used to be kind of that sacred, relaxing space, you know? So that's one of the things that I find is that because I work from home, setting those boundaries around your schedules and your routines is so important. And what we're going to talk about today is you do that already. You just don't usually do it at home the way we're having to right now. So be encouraged. Hopefully we'll find some good tips from what we're going to cover today. So family isolation, what are some tips and tricks for it? So let me tell you a little bit about why me? Why am I even talking about something like this? As I mentioned, I own a travel agency and we have a little bit of a lull right now, not totally stopped, but a lull with new bookings and processing a lot of cancellations. So we're in a holding pattern with a lot of our trips, just like you guys are with yours. And that gives me some free time. But my background is we are also a tour operator. So my most recent experience is that I take large groups of people overseas for extended periods of time, anywhere from 7 to 10 days to a month or 6 weeks with high school students. So I've got to have some good schedules and some good routines down because I can't control where we're sleeping, where we're going, what we're doing, emergencies when they happen. There's so many things that are outside of my control. So I tend to be very comfortable establishing new routines and schedules wherever we are. I used to be a school administrator for an online school, again, managing lots and lots of different moving parts. And as a teacher, my background is a marine science teacher, lots of experience in the classroom, taking different people all together. How do we navigate this new ground together? And how are we going to survive it without hating each other or killing each other? I'm a homeschool mom. My kids are grown now. They're in their 20s, but from preschool to college, we were home and I was home with them 24/7. Okay, we traveled a lot, but you know what I mean is that we were underfoot. So how do you live in a space so tight together? And one of the biggest things I heard in the years that I was homeschooling is so many public school families would say, or Christian school families, oh my gosh, I could never, ever have my kids home all day, every day. I think I would drive me crazy. Well, here we are. So you're on my heart and my mind so much because of what's going on. And this isn't just for families with kids. This is really for adults too. I'm watching my husband, I'm watching my adult kids having to navigate this work at home. College students that were used to being on their own are now, boof, right back at mom and dad's house. And stressful right in the middle of all of it. So between that background of me working with order, I wanted to just share some tips with you on how we can make that a little bit better. How can it help you? Well, first of all, we've got to establish a new routine. We thrive on our routines. Think about it. You have a routine in the morning with your meals. You have a routine on your body when you go to the bathroom. You have a routine on how you drive to work, what you do at work, who you meet and go to lunch with, all of those routines, not just at work, but at home and at play when we play bunco or we go out with the guys for a football game. Every single thing in our life has established routines. And one of the stresses that are on us right now is those routines have been seriously rocked, right? The government is telling us in a lot of states that we have to stay home. We're getting a lot of pressure from the outside setting new boundaries for us. And we don't like that because we're used to setting our own, or we're not, right? So whether you set them or you don't, you're used to those routines, and we thrive when we're in those routines. And when they get messed with, that's when some stress comes along. But we also have to establish some new boundaries. Self-imposed, yes, but like I said, is imposed from the outside as well. Hours that you have to work for work. So there's kids getting online now with all the schools going online. Lots and lots of boundaries are being reset on us all at the same time. Now, boundaries aren't a bad thing, right? We all need them. We want a boundary around our work hours so we can have our off time. We want a boundary around how long a boring movie lasts because we don't want to be stuck there for 4 hours, you know? So boundaries are not a bad thing, and we do need them. And the whole world that we live in makes us respect them. Everything from stop signs to lines in the road that we don't cross over. So boundaries are not a bad thing, but right now they're kind of all mixed up together. And then consequences. We have consequences, different ones. Forget about the kids just for a minute. We have consequences that we live by, that we can't drink and drive. We have to make sure that we don't speed. We have to make sure that we show up for work. Well, now we've got some new consequences. And some of those, if you aren't used to working from home, the consequence is you have to work from home. And that's really difficult when you haven't been used to that routine of doing it, because your home is your off place. That's where when you're off and you're relaxing, that's where you are. Well, now it's where you're working too. So it's important to set up those new routines so you can get into those routines and that schedule as quickly as possible, but so can everybody else in your house. Because when we're all kind of on those same routines, it hums along a lot better. Think of baseball, think of Little League, right? So I'm going to share with you a schedule, and I'll get this to you guys on a like a PDF file or something, so you can get a copy of it. But this is the center column here is just for if you don't have kids and you're just standard either a couple or a mom or dad and dad with adult children at home that are quarantining with you, that sort of thing. But over here is the suggested schedule. Now keep in mind, this is just by the hour through the whole day, just by the hour. And you don't need to be that OCD and technical, but just stay with me just for a minute when we take a look at some of these, okay? So a couple of the things that we're looking at, if we didn't look at anything to do with the kids right now at all, okay? Oh, I don't know if I can do this, but if we take the kids thing out and we're just looking at our normal routine. Hang on, let me turn this off. Yep, okay. So if we're just looking at our normal routine, here's what we're looking at. We get up in the morning, whatever time that is that you're getting up. When you get up, try to sleep in just a little bit, maybe just to give yourself that feeling of I'm home, this is my off time. If work isn't requiring it, take a little bit of time off. But this is the time to be still. This is all across the house when everybody's just starting to get up, just starting to get their coffee. Some of us, I know Tom, my husband, gets up a couple hours usually before I do. This is that time where there's no screens, there's no social media. It's just your time to be still. If you do quiet time or Bible study, a lot of people tend to do that in the morning, not because they're more religious, but because it's quiet and it's like a great time to get it in, just like exercise, because sometimes we don't get it in, right? Then you start your day, you start those routines. I work from home. I've worked from home for 20 years. And it's so funny. My mother will still say to me, oh, you look nice. Where are you going today? Nowhere. I'm working in the garage, but I get dressed and ready for work every day. There's a reason for that. Not because I'm on camera every day or someone's going to see me every day. The routine of my day. I travel 6 months out of the year. I'm in all different places. How do I get my work done? How do I know when to start and when to stop things? It's routines. Okay, so get that block of time, pick whatever time, it doesn't matter, but pick a block of time that the whole family is going to be in that morning chores, get ready for the day, breakfast mode, and picture it. This is the time you're going to take care of your home. Because if you were going to work, it's that brief window of time that you're at home, packing your lunch, getting things going for the day before you go to work. Okay. Now, exercise and wellness, squeak this in somewhere, but it does not need to be from 8 to 9. As the kids' school schedules and things kick in, you're going to see a lot of that changing as well. But plan some type of physical activity. Being isolated and quarantined does not necessarily mean that you cannot walk outside. Okay, for some people it does, but just follow whatever the rules are, the boundaries that they're setting for you as far as your local government, but get some time for some exercise. And you can say 100 different ways. Oh, I don't have time to exercise. I don't have any equipment to exercise with. My gym's closed. I always go to the gym. Do you know that a lot of things on Netflix and on Roku, they're giving away all of their beach body programs, or their, I don't even know what they're called, honestly, but they're all going online. Jazzercise, all these classes that can't meet, they're all going online as well. And a lot of them are offering a free window of time for you to take classes with them. Take advantage of it. Get the whole family involved in it. Who knows, you may find out something new. But this is the time to move. This is the time to physically keep your body in shape. Okay. Apps on your phone. We live on our phone anyway. Check it out. There are tons and tons. I always Google like top 10 exercise apps or easy 15-minute exercises or something like that when I'm traveling. Rarely do I do them, but I Google it and look them up and get them on my phone. Okay, now we get into those blocks of time that are going to be work or school. Again, my two adult kids just came home and they have regular work hours. Boom, just like that. That boundary is set for them. So this is trying to keep it to that normal window as much as possible. I was just telling Sarah today, set that lunch hour, take your break. That's your chance to get up, walk away from your work, whatever it is, hop off the phone, no appointments, and just get yourself that 5-minute break. You're home. Yay, that's nice. But it's a small little break in the middle of your day. If you can't do it because your work is dictating that you can't do it, when my assistant's here, she's here part-time, and she takes her lunch break. She goes out, grabs her lunch, she brings it, and comes in and has a seat. The same thing with you guys. You pre-make your lunch. If you know you're not going to have a break time, just like as if you were going into an office somewhere, pre-make your lunch, just go in, grab it, run to the bathroom, back into the office you go. You know, I'm going to post some pictures as well. I don't know if I can get them on here, but I took some pictures today of just what, you know, where everybody was in the house and how we've set up office space for them. Look on my Facebook page and I'll post it there. But on Facebook, I'm Jen Brown Henriksen. I'll post the name again for you later, but take a look at how you can set up. We live in 980 square feet, people. You cannot tell me, oh, I've got a really small house, that's not going to work for me. I can guarantee you I've pretty much got a smaller house than you do. And I work here full time, work here all the time. So my teacher daughter has her office set up in our bedroom. She lives in a tiny house out back actually, but the Wi-Fi is kind of not strong enough out there for her to do classes. So we set up a desk and an office in the bedroom for her. The bedroom is hers for the day. Okay. My other daughter, my husband built a desk for her, just a little small one that goes in her room. She's loving it because she's got her monitor, she's got everything all set up there, and she can continue her work without any interruptions at all. I'm here in this is actually a garage, but it's an office space that we have set up in the garage with a slider door. And I recommended to everybody in our family that when it's work time, if you have the benefit of a door, get a little colored Post-it note and put on there, quiet on call, or please working, you know, something that's going to give everybody else in the family the idea, oh, this is quiet time. Mom's working, dad's working. This is the time that we don't interrupt them. This is the time for work. Same will go for them for school. We'll talk about them in just a minute. But that work time needs to be totally set up, whatever it is. And now we're in this 3 to 5 window. You may not have that luxury if you're working from home full time, but sometime, all the rest of the day, we've said no screens, no getting on social media. I'm following the news very closely. I've had to because of all the travel stuff going on. You don't need to be ODing on it. Trust me, it does not help your stress level. So yep, get your news update. I think like 10:30 in the morning, whatever time they're doing the presidential address, set a timer on your phone. If you can get out of work, zip out of work and take a look at it very quickly. If you can't get out of work, don't scam it. Stay in work. You're going to get the same update when you get to your lunch break, right? So one of the biggest things I want to encourage you to do is be consistent about your work time. A lot of you've dreamed your whole life to work from home. It is hard to work from home. It takes you setting boundaries on yourself. And when the fridge is right there and your phone's right here, and there's always something to distract you, especially if you have your television set on, I promise you, you will not be working from home for long. Or you might be working from home, but somebody else is going to have your job. Because as a business owner, it's one of the biggest issues that we have with people when they start to work from home. It's just the boundary is difficult to set. So start there, start with that schedule. In the late afternoon, I call it free time, but this is basically like a siesta. This is what we do in Europe, and I spend a lot of time over in Europe. I love this time. But usually after a big meal in the afternoon over there, they take a siesta and they go to work a little bit later. So this free time, screen time I'm talking about, is time where you are off the clock. It doesn't have to be work it around your work schedule, but this is where everybody knows mom is off duty, dad off duty, kids, no school. Everybody's got that free time to go do what it is that they would really like to do within the schedule and the routine of everybody in the family. It's not the time to be running around with your brother when your mom's on a conference call, right? But you'll love that time because that's when you can just go put your feet up, get on Facebook, get on Pinterest, whatever it is. You've got some free time now. That's kind of nice, actually, after the first few days of being home, because I know that can be a little stressful. About that 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock time frame, this is when you're really going to say, okay, everybody's going to stop because now it's time for us to get back to picking up the house again. I know when we have, little league and volleyball and all these things go every night, sometimes we don't even have a meal. We literally are just going from one activity to another, and now bam, we're home all the time. So that can get pretty stressful. But there's also a lot of people living in a small confined space, and that can be stressful when everything gets a mess, So start getting some ideas of some things that people can do. Have one of your youngers use the broom and sweep or vacuum. Have one of the olders be in charge of the dishwasher, setting the table. Try to line up some of those things so everybody knows what their role is when it's time for that afternoon general pickup time. And then your common space that you're all living in isn't destroyed because one person felt like stripping off half their clothes in the middle of the family room, So you just want to make sure if you took off your shoes and your socks, pick them up, put them in the laundry room, put them in your room, I know the family dinner, a lot of families tell me we have an extended family dinner every Sunday night in our backyard when we aren't quarantined. But we are really big on family dinners in our family. And so many people tell me, really? Wow, we rarely ever sit down to a family dinner because we're sitting in front of the TV or we're just so tired or run through Wendy's. I totally get it. But this is the time to fellowship. This is the time for you guys. It sounds like such a churchy word, fellowship, but it's the time for all of the people in your household to come together, sit across from each other and look at each other, talk about things. It isn't the time to get ripped, because you did something wrong. It's not the time to yell. It's the time to sit and fellowship with each other. And if you're angry and upset and yelling at each other, it's not fellowship, right? It's miserable and nobody wants to eat. So really covet that family dinner time. Make it super special and make it not optional. That even if they're used to grabbing their plate and going to their room or getting online and you just don't mind at all because it's kind of a nice break, while we're setting these new boundaries, everybody's coming to the dinner table. And if everybody's like, well, when is it going to be over? Set a time around it. Say when dinner's over, let's say you eat in 30 minutes. When dinner's over, Daddy and I will tell you when you can be excused from the table. And if you're a single parent, you got the same authority. Remember that you are the one setting those boundaries in the house. Respect them and what's going on with them, but set those boundaries so everybody's sane, right? And when dinner ends, it's not see you later, It's every person that's at that table gets up and has something that they're going to do in relation to cleaning up the kitchen. So not one person is saddled with everything that's going on. Another great way to stress somebody out, right? After dinner, have that time that you're picking up, you're getting your private spaces clean. So the afternoon time, that 5 o'clock time, was general pickup in our common areas. 7, 8 o'clock, right after dinner is all cleaned up, getting your jammies, pick up your own bedroom space, things like that. But just make sure your evening chores are straight. Maybe the dog needs to get walked, or the plants need to get watered, or that sort of thing. Another time for us to do a little spot check on what's going on with the house and making sure that we're straight for another day the next day. And then you're off for the night. We're back to screen time. We've got a boundary around screen time, so we aren't like on permanent vacation where we're staying up until 2 in the morning because we got a really good back-to-back movie and hey, I didn't have to get up. That's the first thing to blow the schedule for you, is set a boundary around when you're turning off all electronics and when you're going to your bedroom. That might be that you're reading. It might be any number of things, but it's not going to be back-to-back television shows. Okay. I cannot tell you enough. Tom loves to stay up and watch things when I want to read. We have headphones, where it's not distracting for somebody and we can be in a small space together without constantly interrupting the other person. So just some tips for you there. I'm just going to slide over here just a little bit so you can see, some of the tips that I have here for when you incorporate kids, and then we can finish up here. So here's just some kids, some suggestions that I have in the morning time, because I know if you've got one of the ramrodders that loves to be up and through the house in the morning, that's going to be tough because you've got to be able to set those boundaries around low key activities so they can respect those family quiet hours. Remember, it's going to make everybody's day much better. One of the coolest things that I want to recommend to you if you have kids of any age, usually through middle school, through early middle school, is get them a little timer. You can order them from Walmart, those little tiny digital white timers. Get yourself some Sharpie markers, the rainbow color Sharpie markers, and let the kids just decorate their marker. Because now that marker timer has a little clip on the back of it, and they can clip it right on their pants, and they know exactly when the time is going to change for each thing that's going on in the schedule. Remember, when you write your schedule, it's going to be super chill. It's not going to have all these words on it. So it's just going to say it's time for us to do chores and eat or get dressed. Much easier for them to follow it. You can even do it with stickers if you want to, and put stickers on their chart so they'll know what to do next. When we talk about exercise, there's tons of things that you can get involved with kids as well. Apps, programs, different television shows. If that's the only way you're going to get your exercise because the kids are young, then by golly, we're going to be dancing to I don't even know. I was going to say Wiggles, but I don't think you have that anymore. Okay, when we talk about that work and school space, again, now the kids are needing a place where they're going to do school. This is going to sound a little crazy, but a lot of times you're looking right at a place that they can be doing their schoolwork and you're not even thinking about it. If you have that adventure kid that loves to be outside the box, you have a bathtub. Let the bathtub with a couple of pillows and blankets become their hideout for where they get their schoolwork done. They only have to be interrupted when someone has to use that bathroom. Throw a blanket over the top of the kitchen table, put a lantern or a little flashlight under there, and let them hang under there. They have to have it up and open so you can see that they're doing their schoolwork, so it isn't just time to hide away from you. But you know what I mean? Make it kind of fun. You can move one of the kitchen table chairs out with one of the little round end tables and set up a little makeshift desk right in the middle of the family room. You're not going to have the television on all day. That's part of the boundaries and the routines, right? So you can see, as you keep scooting down here, they get that nice break timers on so they know when their break ends. This is the hardest transition for young people, is going from their lunch and their screen time back into school or whatever that structured activity is. The younger they are, the harder this time is, okay? So for your younger kids, you might want to keep that lunch break shorter and not allow screens, because once you lose them, it's a little hard to get them back, okay? That afternoon block is hard on everyone. So usually between that 2 and 3 o'clock, sometimes 4, we have a chocolate bar or something that you've been looking forward to, that hot tea and a scone. Pick something that's going to get you to that finish line for work or school. One of the things that I talk about when I was doing scheduling for homeschooling is that their favorite subjects should be the ones that are last in the day, the ones that they have the most difficulty with, if at all possible. Now, if they're online with their teacher, the teacher's going to dictate that, right? But try to get those favorite activities later in the day. So now we can push our way through those things that we don't want to do as much, and we finish up with things that we'd really like to do, which isn't it exactly what we're doing here? We're giving ourselves free time after we push through the things that maybe we don't want to do either. So same thing with this. This is individual time. So remember, it's not a time for, me to go out in the hammock and for Shelby to end up doing all the dishes. No, this is free time for everybody, where everybody gets to go do what they want to do and chill out. Okay. There's a time for cleaning up right after that. So we have a time for everything, right? Yeah, you can see the rest of the suggestions there. And the whole goal of this, guys, the whole point of this schedule is to make sure that every person has that boundary and that around their routine. And the quicker you can establish some of those routines at home, the way faster that stress level is going to go down, truly. And one of the things I recommend to you is that if you don't really have that set time where you set boundaries, start with a family meeting, that you have a nice family dinner, maybe get some nice treat at the end of the family dinner, like a hot fudge sundaes, or that you're all going to go for a walk, social distancing respected. But you know what I mean? You're going to do something, maybe watch a movie, something that's out of character for what you would normally do, but that everybody would look forward to. And then before you do that, we're going to have a family meeting. And when you sit down to have that family meeting, it's a perfect time to institute something like this. And remember, baby steps. It's hard for people to adjust their routines. It doesn't matter what age we are. So little baby steps. Start with implementing little things. Monday's always a great time to start it, when we talk about it on Friday and we start to have the weekend off, and then everybody knows we're going to transition on to Monday. Especially as you get to the end of your first or second week with kind of chaos running. I know spring breaks are ending and now we're getting more into those routines, and the stress level again is going to creep up as the kids have school times that they need to be online and internet issues, those sorts of things. The last thing you want is unnecessary stress. And a lot of times we're creating it and we don't even know it. So I hope that somewhere in this you found one little piece that would help you. If you did, I would really, really appreciate it if you would comment below in the comments, because it blesses me as well just to hear the positive feedback. If you have negative feedback, don't bother, because we don't want to hear that. We're just doing this to bless people, and if it didn't help you, you can remain silent and not even worry about it. But you guys, I just wish you the best of luck, and I'm praying for across the board for all of us as we're kind of jostling what it is that we're doing right now and not even really knowing day to day. But I know that God is not a God of disorder. He's a God of peace. And no matter where you are in your walk with the Lord, or whether or not you believe in God, our whole world runs on order. Our whole world. The sun comes up on a schedule, So I encourage you to shave those boundaries in just a little bit if they've been pushed or mowed down completely. And don't be afraid to do it. And if there's any way that I can assist you with a suggestion or anything like that, it would be my honor to do it. So just message me privately on Facebook, and we can connect, and I can offer some suggestions if there's something specific that you're dealing with. But just know you're not doing it alone. There's a whole lot of us right out here at the end of your fingertips. So have a great day, everybody, and thanks for joining.